I bought a new string trimmer, and we'll talk about it here in just a second. But I'm going to show you the one that I've had for about 15 years, and the reasons as to why the new one is not going to replace my old trusty workhorse Husqvarna 224L. As I mentioned, I've owned this thing for about, give or take a few months, for about 15 years. It is a 4-cycle or 4-stroke string trimmer. 4-stroke meaning you don't mix the fuel, the gas, and the oil. Oil's on one side and then gas on the other side. I have not done anything to it as far as major repairs. Replaced the fuel line, I think maybe twice, and that's in 15 years. And I'm thinking the fuel line is exposed right here, and it's close to the motor. And when it gets hot, that rubber becomes hard. Then it becomes brittle. Then you have some cracks, and some air starts leaking into it. So, like I said, in about 15 years, I have had to replace it twice. So, other than that, once a year, maybe 2 years or 3, I'll replace the oil. I just pop that off, dump a little bit of the oil out, which it doesn't have that much oil in it to begin with, and I'll refill it with fresh oil. The head, that is the original head, still in it. Like I said, I have not a spark plug. I replaced it once, and that's because I was thinking, that's been over a decade in there. I'm going to replace a spark plug. But other than that, this thing, hopefully it'll start. This thing will start. Watch. Well, you get the idea. So now the past, I will say the past 3 years or so, or 4 years, I've been using these guys. These are brush cutters. This one has teeth almost like the teeth on a chainsaw chain. This one here, it's almost like a table saw or a circular saw. Same thing with this one. Okay, this one is a 7-inch. This is 8-inch solid, and this is 9-inch perforated. What this allows me to do is it allows me to go into the woods and cut down like really thick weeds, or saplings up to a few inches. And I will post a photo in here somewhere how large of a quote-unquote sapling I've been able to cut with them. Now, that's what I do. I am not suggesting, I repeat, I'm not suggesting for you to cut anything that big. Do your own research. But like I said, I wanted to test these out, and I wanted to go into the woods on the backside of my property and see what all I can cut with, because I have a lot of saplings. I have a lot of thick vines and thick weeds, and these right here made a big difference. My favorite, between the one with the 7-inch with chainsaw cutting teeth, 8-inch solid, and 9-inch perforated. 9-inch perforated. The reason being is the 8-inch, even though it's smaller, because it's solid, it's much heavier. I don't have a scale, but it's maybe twice the weight of this one. So it kind of like, it slows down the head quite a bit of the weed eater. So with that being said, I got 2 reasons why I bought the new weed eater or string trimmer, and we're gonna get into which one that I got. Number 1 reason, just in case my Husqvarna 224L decides to retire, quote unquote retire, I have a backup. So reason number 2 is now I can put one of these on the head of the Husqvarna and be a dedicated brush cutter, so I don't have to swap out heads. And I will show. I have a kit right here on the table, and I'm gonna get the camera and pan and scan on the table, showing you what the kit comes, and it's about $20. For $20 you get two blades, two brush cutting blades, and all the fittings to make that fit. Now, my apologies for two things. My sweat, it is towards the end of the day, and it's hot. We're in the South US, and the summers down here, they last a lot longer than in the northern states. Apology number two is if you can hear the goats, the guineas, and the roosters, it's because it's towards the end of the day, and they're calling for feed. So, and if you follow some of the other videos, the guineas will follow me everywhere, and they're just about, I'll say about 20 yards that way, even though I'm the backside of my property, or towards the backside of my property. Anyways, with that ramble out of the way, the Echo 2620T is the new string trimmer that I bought. Like I said, it is not to replace the Husqvarna 224L. This thing has been a major workhorse. I weed eat a lot, even areas that I don't have to weed eat. And to this day, I still don't have any issues with it. And hopefully, knocking on wood, I will still keep that thing for a long time. It's just to make it a dedicated brush cutter, so I can put the blade on it and just leave the blade without me having to swap heads every time. And also to have a backup for just in case I'm gonna go somewhere and help somebody with their property, and I get there and that person needs something string trim, and I tried to fire up the Husqvarna, and the Husqvarna decided to retire. So I will have a backup. So the 2620T means that it has that T. What it means is torque, for a high torque head, which means I can go through some thick grass or some thick weeds, and it's not going to slow down. It's just going to keep cutting and cutting. Now you can get the 2620 without the T, save yourself a few dollars. And what that means is you're not going to have the high torque head. But if you, let's say you live in the city and you don't do much string trimming, or if the string trimming that you do is just regular grass once a week, it's not going to go very thick. Save yourself a few bucks and go with it. So, but like I said, I'm going to keep the Husqvarna. It will be a dedicated brush cutter, and the Echo is going to be my go-to for regular weed eating and getting rid of some weeds. The size on both strings is 0.095 of an inch. However, on the Echo, I can go to the 0.105 of an inch, which means on the Echo I can run a thicker string. So. This was not a review of the new Echo 2620T with a high torque head on it. This was not a comparison between the Husqvarna 224L and the Echo, and which one I would prefer, because we're not comparing apples to apples here. We're like way off. We got this little guy here that's about 15 years old, and then this Echo has been in my possession for about 2 weeks. So that is not fair at all. The main reason was explaining as to why I bought another one when the Husqvarna 224L is still going strong. Like I said, is to make it so I can have the Echo as the main one. Husqvarna is going to be my backup, and also it's going to be a dedicated brush cutter. Which, by the way, if you want to see a video as to how I convert the Husqvarna to a brush cutter, I pull the kit, I install the kit. Let me know in the comments, or send me a message, whether you find me on Facebook or you have an email address, or the easiest thing is just put a comment down below if you're interested. So, and I will walk you through it as to how I do it. It is not me suggestions for anybody to do it. It's how I do it. So, and all this comes with that kit. So, and 2 brush cutting blades. All right, my friends. Thank you for stopping by. If you haven't done so already, smash that like button, subscribe, share, and all that good stuff. Thank you.